All right, so lucky to be joined today by Hall of Fame promoter Bob Arum from Top Rank. Bob, you've got a card this weekend in Minnesota on ESPN Plus, featherweight bout between two-time title challenger Joet Gonzalez versus former world champion Isaac Dogbe. Did the winner of this fight get a title shot, Bob?
Well, probably. Again, what we have learned over the recent years doing these fights for ESPN is the most important thing is to get main events, particularly, that are extremely competitive with top flight fighters that people can enjoy because the competition is so good. So I'm not into, you got to do everything, got to be stepping stone and everything. I mean, for example, when we put together this fight between Dogbe and Joet Gonzalez, it was really the idea that it would be a fantastic fight, that we didn't know who would win when the fight was made, and it will delight the people. And many of our shows are shown on ESPN Plus, and so people, if they're out on Saturday night, can watch it the next day. And we're getting tremendous responses with the number of people who are watching on ESPN Plus. And we're also learning that you got to put together a really good undercard that highlights up-and-coming fighters, particularly, because people are watching the undercard. Like Saturday night, we have 10 fights that are going to be shown on ESPN Plus.
Wow. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, the talent speaks for itself. We know that Joet has only lost, like we said, 2 title fights to the likes of Shakur Stevenson and Emmanuel Navarrete. 2 tough customers. I mean, this is a guy who he actually works out in the same gym as my son, so we kind of talk occasionally. He definitely wants to be a world champion like no other. This is a path to get there, though, right? If he can beat Dogbe.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have, later on in the summer, in August, we have Navarrete, who's a featherweight champion that's under contract to us, will be defending his title. And the winner of Joet's fight with Dogbe would be a great opponent for early next year.
Do you believe that Navarrete will stay at featherweight? Or, I mean, you had talked previously about trying to make a fight between him and Oscar Valdez up at 130. Could you see him, because he is a naturally bigger guy, moving up in weight and maybe even vacating that belt?
Well, that's a possibility too. I mean, if a fighter is having trouble making weight, just to stay at the weight to hold on to the title makes no sense.
Yeah.
There are great fights for Navarrete at 130 pounds. So again, everything is in flux, and nothing is really choreographed that much like we used to. From one show to the other, we realize that these fighters have to be consulted as to what weight they're most suited for.
Well, one fighter that the mind does want to choreograph for is Shakur Stevenson, who I know you've got some news conferences scheduled for next week for his September 23rd homecoming fight against, I'm going to butcher his last name, but Robson Conceicao of Brazil.
Conceição, yeah.
Conceição, there you go. That fight's going to be back in New Jersey for Shakur, which is a nice gesture for you, and I'm sure it's going to be well attended. But Shakur has so many huge options for him. This fight, obviously, two belt title defenses. Will that lead him to a fight against someone like Vasiliy Lomachenko? I know like Ryan Garcia's name has come up. What do you see for the future of Shakur beyond this fight?
Well, I can't talk for Garcia because obviously he fights for Golden Boy, and we haven't broached anything with them. But in our own stable, hopefully we get Lomachenko back in action, and he's everything okay. He gets leave from the Ukrainian military. We can get Lomachenko in action in October, and then next year, a lot of ways for Lomachenko to go. One fight that has to be made, maybe not next for either guy, but down the road, probably next year, a fight that everybody would die to see is Shakur Stevenson and Lomachenko. And both guys want that fight.
You already have an opponent in mind for Lomachenko in an October return bout?
I think Carl Moretti is working with our matchmakers to pick a suitable opponent, and I'm sure they'll come up with somebody that passes all the tests. Remember, Loma's been inactive, I guess, since December.
Right. But that's a pretty much a definite that he will return in October.
Nothing in life anymore is definite.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay. Great. Look, while we're just mentioning his name, Oscar Valdez, is there anything on the horizon for him after his loss to Shakur?
I know that we're working on a fight for Oscar maybe later this year or early next year.
Okay.
I mean, we have such a tremendous number of dates from ESPN, ESPN Plus that we fill, but when you cut it down, there's not enough dates to go around. So we're cognizant of the fact that Valdez is going to come back in a really interesting tune-up fight.
Okay, great.